We also have a unity blessing that I'd like you to join me in. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you just the way you are. And we have a statement of faith. Please join me. There's only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe. God the good omnipotence, and I am one with that presence and power. Ooh, when you speak those words, you do feel one, at one-ment with that presence and that power. I do. So let's take that at one-ment into prayer. Let's take a nice deep breath and release it. And sink into your seats and just let go of everything it took to get here. Recognize your comfort in the seats. Recognize your comfort in this atmosphere, for this is a magnificent place, a place where God unfolds through us, as us, not only around us, but in us. And so I ask you right now to feel in your mind's eye, in your heart's eye, that feeling of love that you have for, I don't know, could be a person in your life, a relative, a pet, your mother, your father, your daughter. Feel that presence of love within you. And know this, that's the presence of God right here, right now, in, around, and through you. For God is often known as the presence of love. We feel that right now. I recognize and know that this very space is filled with joy and compassion and caring and empathy and all of the things that make it a place where we can talk about Jesus and recognize that we are utilizing Jesus as that example in our lives. We can do these things, and we are who we say we are. I'm so grateful for this. I'm so grateful for this knowing. I'm so grateful for all the people that put this together, including our board of trustees, all of the volunteers that do those things that are so important for this service, from the PowerPoint to the greeting to the power from the live streaming and the sound. It's all so important. I'm so thankful for our prayer chaplains who hold the light for us each and every day, not just today, and for the musical gifts and spiritual feeling that our singer Mitch Kaplan brings today. Thank you so much. Oh, we just revel in this and just know that it is good and very good. I release these words into the law of mind, knowing that they're already done with great thanksgiving. And please join me by saying, and so it is, so amen. All right. So we're going to do a 3-minute question. See if I can get it done in 3 minutes. You know, my medical plan allows me to get glasses once a year, new glasses once a year, you know. And I think I need them more often than that. Things change. Things keep changing, you know. But the interesting thing is that you guys keep getting better looking. You do. You keep getting, as my eyesight unsharpens, I get better looking. Yeah. So here we go. All right. The 3-minute question. Ooh, this is a long one. Could take me 3 minutes to read it. I've heard it said that because the Israelites were so traumatized due to the various forms of control, oppression, and abuse, that much of their story in the Bible about God is based on their desperate need to make sense of their lives and to have hope. Your thoughts? Ooh. Do you know that desperate need to make sense of our lives and have hope, I think, is one of the reasons why religions in and of themselves were created. You know, people need a space where they can meet other people who believe in the same values, who set up the same structures for their lives, who help one another to pull on the same end of the rope. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I think religions have been such a large part of our lives. And there are so many different religions because there are so many different ways of seeing things and of determining how to engage with them, with those experiences. You know, the only thing about that is that sometimes We take a look at our religion and think, is that enough? Is that really doing the things that I want it to do for me? Something seems to be missing, because I'm going to church and I'm doing the things that I think I'm supposed to be doing, and I sit in the same seat and the basket comes and I throw something in the basket, and that's all good. It really is all good. But how about that connection with your source? How about that? You know, how about that feeling that this power that we all come and talk about and try to understand is really flowing through me as me, and I can feel it. I can palpably feel it. I am connected to it. There's a commonality between it and me, and we become one. I think that's what the Israelites were struggling for. I think they were struggling for that connection, and maybe their religion wasn't doing it for them. You know, they were still in bondage. Maybe the oppression, maybe the sadness and suffering, you know, became a part of the religious tradition, because it can do that too. So reaching outside of it to that personal connection, to the spirituality of being engaged with this power as opposed to just reading about it, is an important aspect, I think, of the development of every religion. And it is front and center for us in the Old Testament. Front and center. And so the answer to that question, I think, is yes. I think it's yes and. In fact, that's kind of the answer to just about every question, isn't it? You know, yes and. At least it is for me nowadays. I mean, that's the essence of an open mind for me. So, yeah, I think that's a great question. And whoever asked it, thank you so much. So how'd I do? 2
minutes and 44 seconds.
Wow. Whoa. You know what? I think that demands a song. What do you think? We got to sing about that, Mitch.
Yeah.
Come on, let's do it.
You are seen, you are heard, you are loved for who you are. You are enough, you are complete. You are loved, you are loved, you are loved, you are loved. I am seen, I am heard, I am loved for who I am. There is nothing I need to change. I am loved. I am loved. I am loved. I am loved. You are seen, you are heard, you are loved for who you are. You are enough, you are complete. You are loved.
Good morning. I like the view from up here. It's Palm Sunday, so we're reading about Palm Sunday today. To me, Palm Sunday is sort of about stepping into your divine truth and meeting your future and your destiny and your personal power. So I think it's a beautiful thing. On Palm Sunday, I celebrate the divine presence within. Today is Palm Sunday, the commemoration of Jesus' arrival in Jerusalem that symbolizes the awakening of the Christ awareness in humankind. Those who followed Jesus into Jerusalem shouted the awakening of the Christ awareness in humankind. Those and express more and more of the love, peace, joy, and light of my Christ nature. As Holy Week begins, I open my heart and mind to more fully embody and share the Christ of my being. I feel blessed knowing others around the world are doing the same. Together, we bring peace and healing to the world and to one another, fulfilling the promise of Jesus. So they took branches of palm trees and went out to meet him, shouting, "Hosanna! Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord." John 12:13.
Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday to you, each and every one of you. It's my privilege and pleasure to pray with you. Before I start, let me remind you that if you have any prayer concerns, there are prayer chaplains here to assist you. Just sit in your seat. Could I get the prayer chaplains to stand, please? Good. If you have any prayer concerns, one of these lovely souls will help to assist you. Thank you. Now let us take a moment to relax your thoughts as you allow your breath to let you to surrender to that quiet space within. By breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, and breathing out. Regardless of what challenges may arise, we have the courage and strength to overcome them. We are fully equipped to meet life circumstances with ease and grace, knowing the indwelling presence of God quiets us, comforts us, reminds us we are not alone. We find strength as we center ourselves in prayer. We bring our attention to our heart space and focus on the power that resides within us. We claim a divine, authentic, and listen to our inner guidance. In this silence, we find comfort in the knowing that all is well here and now. We release all worries and fears, and we go forth with a grateful heart, knowing God is making a way even when we can't see it. We focus on our attention and on all things. We are grateful for the prophet of God and all the blessings in our lives. Our faith is strong and we are courageous. As we move into a 2-minute period of silence. Let us open our eyes and let us say the prayer of St. Francis together. Okay? God, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is joy. O divine Francis, grant that I might not seek to be consoled, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is through grace that we are given everlasting. So it is. Amen. All right, thank you. Thank you for putting up with me. I did that without my glasses.
I hear a call, now will I answer, forsake my own, to serve another. Though darkness falls, stay a believer. I hear a call, now will I answer. I see a light, now will I follow. Fill up this light that grows more hollow. Make joy reside where there lives sorrow. I see a light, now will I follow. I hear a call from out of nowhere, and from everywhere I go. I hear a call, now will I answer. I feel a touch, now will I hold on, be there with love, for those with no one, with a kindness such, it lives though I'm gone. I feel a touch, now will I hold on. I hear a call from out of nowhere, and from everywhere I go. I see a light, now will I follow. I feel a touch, now will I hold on. I hear a call, now will I answer. I hear a call, now will I answer.
Oh, you can tell I got lots to say today by how many papers I got up here. But the funny thing is, I rarely use them. So I keep them here just in case I need them. How about that? You know, I mean, it's like an escape route, you know. If my feeble mind goes blank, there it is. Actually, I do pretty well for my age, I think, you know. If I'm feeble, I hide it well. All right, you guys, so enough of that, because I want to thank David Allen Cruz, and I hope you're watching, David, for spending last Sunday with this magnificent group of people. Yes. For bringing your talents, playing guitar, singing, speaking, bringing a message that makes you feel that the beautiful day is you, you know, the beautiful day. And it is a beautiful day. So, you know, this day is kind of a special day in religious spaces. And in churches all over the world, Christian churches all over the world, people are talking about Palm Sunday today. And I think that they're talking about Palm Sunday even in churches that aren't Christian churches, because there's something to be said for the unfolding of this beautiful story, and that something isn't necessarily only aligned with Christianity. There's a special message that's being given. We're going to talk a little bit about that. That can be understood not only by Christians, but understood by Jews and by Muslims and by Hindus. I mean, this is a message which is a higher truth. It brings a higher truth, a truth of transformation, a truth of willingness, a truth of our oneness with God. Human and divine we are, human and divine. And as we put the work in, as we do the things that we know we need to do, as we become who it is we need to become, we start to move a bit of the humanness out of us and understand and accept the divinity within as our true nature, as our authentic selves, as I say. You know, I call that, for this month's theme, everyday enlightenment, meaning we have to find ways to remind us that this is so, that this is true. And I think that's the whole Lent experience, by the way. The whole Lenten experience is a reminder that we are that we are fully divine, although with human aspects and characteristics that sometimes drag us below that level of knowing. So let's pull ourselves up. Let's just pull ourselves up to that level of knowing right now. Understand and recognize that this divinity is in us, as us, and allows us to be all of the things that are described by Jesus. All of the things that are shown to us by the master teacher, the Prince of Peace. Those are heavy words. You know, and as I said, you know, Jesus was not just considered to be the person who belonged to Christians or those people that had sort of pulled away from some of the traditions of Judaism. He was considered to be that person which could be relied on to give spiritual knowledge and truth, no matter what your religion. So here's what I'm going to start with today, because Palm Sunday is the 6th Sunday of Lent, and I am going to go to Keep a True Lent by Charles Fillmore to give us a foundation, kind of a grounding for what this is all about in the tradition of unity. So, Palm Sunday. Palm Sunday is the Sunday preceding Easter. Jerusalem, the holy city, symbolizes within us the habitation of peace, possession of peace, vision of peace, abode of prosperity within us. In man, Jerusalem is the abiding consciousness of spiritual peace, which is the result of continuous realizations of spiritual power, tempered with spiritual poise and confidence. Jerusalem symbolizes the great nerve center just back of the heart. From this point, spirit sends its radiance to all parts of the body, Jesus symbolizes our I am identity. His going up to Jerusalem means our taking the last step in unfoldment, preparatory to the final step, which the personality is entirely crucified, and means the fulfillment of the time when the spiritual I am within us takes control and lifts all the animal forces up to the spiritual plane of mastery, purity, and peace. When the I am takes charge of the body, a new order of things is inaugurated. The vitality is no longer wasted. Through high and pure ideals, the whole consciousness is raised to a higher standard. The hosannas of the rejoicing multitude and the spreading of their garments and branches of trees before Jesus represent joyful obedience and homage to all the thoughts in one's consciousness. Blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord. In the name of Jesus Christ I affirm, the spirit of him that raised up Jesus dwells in me, and I am made perfect. In Keep a True Lent, Charles Fillmore talks about, the metaphysical meaning. And by the way, we look at the Bible and revere what it has to say in the sense that it gives us metaphysical or metaphorical understanding of deep truths, that we can understand these things a little deeper by reading the Bible, and that we can, in a way, see what it is that we need to see when we've matured emotionally and spiritually, when we can step back and put ourselves in someone else's shoes and actually see the truth that is unfolding in their lives and can unfold in ours. And he mentions John 12, essentially, as he mentions the story of Palm Sunday, and I'm going to just touch a couple of highlights. So I don't know if everybody's familiar with what happens on Palm Sunday, but these are my words, and I'm paraphrasing it all because I love the story. I love how it unfolds. So, Jesus is doing a lot of things out there that a lot of other people aren't doing. And he is bringing an energy which is scary to a lot of the people in power. Just plain scary. I mean, he's drawing huge crowds. He's bringing multitudes of people that are there to hear him speak and here to participate in his miracles because he's healing people. He's going places nobody ever went before. He's doing things nobody ever tried to do. He's comfortable with tax collectors and lepers and people who are seen as criminals or engaged in criminal type activity. He's comfortable with them. He spends time with them. He's not afraid. He's not afraid to brush up against people and put himself in jeopardy of getting a disease or of getting stabbed with a spear or a sword. He's not afraid of that at all. I mean, does anybody see any fear in him while he's out doing these things? I don't. I don't see any fear in that. I mean, I think he's brave and courageous and does some amazing things out there that he says we can do. We too can do these things. I think all we have to do is, have faith that we can and step into it. As Nike says, just do it. Give it a shot, just give it a shot. You might not be successful the first time, but doggone it, do it. You can be successful the first time if your goal is to love. You can be successful the first time if your goal is to have compassion. If your goal is to feed the poor or the hungry, you can have success the first time. The first time. If you love enough, can you heal? What do you think of that? Yeah, so maybe we need a little practice, right? Maybe we need a little practice. And what Jesus did was grab 12 people and said, come on, let's go out and practice this. Let's go practice these things. And so he's out practicing these things and hoping and knowing deep within his heart that the people that he took under his wing were going to be able to do the same sort of things. But you know what? Those things kept on getting just a little bit more difficult in the eyes of people. So he was becoming elevated, especially when he brought Lazarus back from the dead. I mean, this is a week before the resurrection. engaged in kind of preparation, I would say, for Passover, which is why the faithful were on their way to Jerusalem. I mean, go to Jerusalem for Passover. I guess it's like a Coachella, you know. It might be, you go. I don't know. It might be. It might be. So he was on his way to Passover, but he had to do something first. What he had to do was what he had been, I guess, putting off for a little while. A friend of himself and the family, Lazarus, had been sick, and he was called to heal Lazarus because the word worldwide was being disseminated that he could do that kind of thing. And, you know, as very busy people might do, he kind of dilly-dallied a little bit, and Lazarus went ahead and died. Tough. It was tough. Jesus decided that it's time to go see Lazarus. Let's go do this. And in seeing Lazarus, his task was not necessarily to heal, although it was always to heal, which is kind of an interesting dichotomy, you know. I mean, everywhere he went, he healed. Even death can be healed. Maybe that's the question. You know, there's a doctor. He's a medical doctor. He's also a PhD in philosophy. He passed away, I think, in about 2012, and his name is Dr. David Hawkins. He wrote Power versus Force. Probably some of you know Dr. David Hawkins' work. And his idea was that Jesus vibrated at such a high level of love that disease could not exist in his presence. What an interesting idea, huh? Disease could not exist in his presence. So all he had to do was show up in your presence, and disease would be disseminated. Gone. Just gone. And the touching might have been just kind of a way of saying, here. You know, and I think it's a magnificent way of looking at it. And I think of that often. You know, the power is in his love. The power is in his ability to transmit that love and allow other people to know it and feel it and experience it. And so Jesus was out healing people, but healing, I think, from death is a tougher task, or is it? I don't know, but not one he shirked from. For Lazarus was healed. Oh, far and wide, people heard of this story. I mean, this was a biggie. Jesus had been doing other things out there, you know, that were causing concern for those that thought he was gaining too much power, too much spiritual gravitas. But this was a big one. This was a big one. In fact, when Jesus was expected to come into Jerusalem, people were there to greet him and praise him because they'd heard of it. They'd heard of that. Now, that had been done in Bethany. It's a little town about 2 miles outside of Jerusalem, so it didn't take long for that word to get there. So Jesus does some things that allow him to fulfill certain prophecies. Come riding in on a donkey, which is what he orchestrated. He had two of his men go out and get this small donkey, call it a colt, if you will. But he rode in on this donkey, and people spread palm leaves on the ground in front of him, so that and other garments, so that he would not have to walk across dust, kick up dust, and get dirty. It was a way of saying, we revere you. We are bowing before you. And something happened in that moment that was just really, really hard to bear. You know, the establishment, the Romans, looked at this and went, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Now, even the Romans understood certain things about human, humankind, the human condition. Even the Romans understood that as you believe in your heart, so shall it be in the world around you. You bring about your circumstances. They believed that. I mean, otherwise, why would they have set forth the type of structure that they set forth. Oh, they knew their philosophers too. They were well aware of their philosophers. They knew about the things that Marcus Aurelius was teaching that in his meditations. They knew about the Stoics. They knew about this idea of oneness. They knew about this as within, so without. I mean, you can tell it in the way that the Roman soldiers handled themselves, that they had to develop this sense of courage, a consciousness of obedience in order to allow it to permeate society in those days. They knew all that. And so they see this happening to the people. Not the kind of revolution that the people thought that they were going to get, mind you. They thought they were going to get through a Messiah, a material revolution, meaning somebody who's going to bring forth the power to clean all this stuff up, to change it all right before our very eyes. We need somebody who can make this look different. Ooh, that's not what he was bringing. What he was bringing was a spiritual revolution, a spiritual idea, an awakening, a consciousness that had apparently permeated this entire group of people that were laying down palm fronds and garments. Wow, that's big. And so their question becomes, what are we going to do? What are we going to do about this? I mean, you probably are sitting there right now going, wow, that is an interesting question, I mean, what would I do about this? Well, if I didn't want that to happen, if I did not want these people to generate within their hearts this sense of freedom and joy and love, and one that would not bend to the oppression tactics that were being utilized in those days, I mean, if I were them, what would I do? Would you banish him? Would you lock him up? Would you kill him? What would you do? Interesting question, isn't it? It's an interesting question. Well, later on in the story, we find out a little bit of the answer to that. But, I find a different way of looking at Palm Sunday and what's going on in that walk to Jerusalem and the ride through the city. And don't you know, I'm probably going to tell you. Yeah, because I look at things just a tiny bit differently. Okay. So in order to see things a little bit differently, I'm going to back up just a moment and tell you that you have probably been reading this booklet, which is in the garden, and I love it. I absolutely love this booklet in the garden. But I'm here to offer you a different understanding of some things that happened in the garden. We're told in the garden that Jesus was concerned that he was going to be arrested and crucified or die. That he asked God to take that whole plan away. Take this cup from me. I don't see it that way. Look, I just described to you what you know to be true about Jesus was that he's courageous, that he hung out in difficult situations, maybe dangerous circumstances. Do you think he was afraid to die? Do you think for a moment he was afraid to die? I don't think so at all. I don't think he was afraid to die at all. In fact, I think when he said, Father, take this cup from me, he's saying, let's get this going. Come on, the cup is my body. Let's do this. How long do I have to wait? I've been doing this for a long time, and still these people that I've gathered around me are screwing up. He called them fools. Those people couldn't even stay awake while he was talking to God at the garden. Every time he'd say something, they'd say, can you explain that to us? And he'd say, you've been around me for so long and you don't know what I'm talking about? Will you please explain the parable of the fig tree, Jesus? Oh my gosh. Every parable is really the same. 27 of them I've given you. They're all pretty much the same. And I got to explain that to you again. When can we do this, God? Let's do this. What I've been doing isn't working. Come on. Let's do it. That somehow fits his personality a little bit more than save me from, what's going to happen. So I tried to, in my thinking about this, find some people that revered Jesus over the years. And by the way, my favorite person who revered Jesus is who I look to first, Rumi. Did you know Rumi wrote a lot about Jesus? Did you know that Rumi was an incredible fan of Jesus? Yeah, here's some quotes from Rumi. The miracle of Jesus is himself, not what he said or did about the future. Forget the future. I'd worship someone who could do that. That's what Rumi said. I'd worship somebody who could do that. He also says Jesus was lost in his love for God. Wow, I mean, what higher praise could you give? Lost in his love for God. It drove him. Rumi also said, escape from foolish people, just as Jesus escaped. Companionship with fools has spilled so much blood. Companionship with fools has spilled so much blood. I get the sense when I'm reading his quotes that he thinks the same thing. That Jesus was pushing to get this thing done. Let's do this. Let's escape from fools. Let's get away from this and make this thing work in a way that we haven't tried yet. Because spending years with me walking around doing these things has not changed these people. Not at all. So come on, let's get it on. So he facilitates that. Now, I love Rumi. Because Rumi talks about things that people would not necessarily get in a very, very interesting way. The things he's talking about are typically surprising. When you get down to the bottom line, you see a little bit about what they are in truth. And so Rumi writes a poem, and Jesus is the main character. And it's called What Jesus Runs Away From. Interesting. Do you think that Jesus would run away from anything? Well, let me give you a spoiler because some of these words are a little bit difficult in today's vernacular to understand. But what he's running away from is the people that refuse to transform their lives. What he's running away from are what he said in his quote, the fools that look away. The Son of Mary, Jesus, hurries up a slope as though a wild animal were chasing him. Someone following him asks, "Where are you going?" "No one is after you." Jesus keeps on, saying nothing, across 2 more fields. "Are you the one who says words over a dead person and so he wakes up?" Jesus stops and says, "I am." "Did you not make the clay birds fly?" Jesus says, "Yes." "Who then could possibly cause you to run like this?" Jesus slows his pace. "I say the great name over the deaf and the blind, and they are healed," says Jesus, "over a stony mountainside, and it tears its mantle down to the navel. Over non-existence, it comes into existence. But when I speak lovingly for hours, for days, with those who take human warmth and mock it, when I say the name to them, nothing happens. They remain rock or turn to sand. That sand where no plants can grow. Other diseases are ways for mercy to enter, but this non-responding breeds violence and coldness toward my Father. I am fleeing from that. The fear of change of others. Transformation was his desire. That's what I think. And I think that he found in his heart of hearts that it was time to do the thing that might create that situation where people's enlightenment became more available to them. And they could start doing the things that he was doing. I mean, in John chapter 12, where all of this is laid out, he says, you guys can do these things too. These things I'm doing, you can do. I mean, you're human and divine too, is the message. Bring your divinity to the table. Come on, let's do this thing. I mean, I think that's the message of the Gospels to begin with, you know? I think it's the message of the Gospels. But I don't think for a second that Jesus was afraid to die. Not a second. You know, and I don't see that as being something that permeates the entire atmosphere of those days. You know, I mean, maybe this is not a true story, but I love the movie Spartacus. You ever seen the movie Spartacus? All right. Well, in Spartacus, there are a lot of soldiers, makeshift soldiers, men in the field, seated down on the ground. And the Romans have kind of cornered them. And they ask this question. You tell us right now, who is Spartacus? Do you remember that part? Who is Spartacus? And what happens? One man stands up and says, I am Spartacus. Another one stands up and says, I am Spartacus. Another one says, I am Spartacus. Pretty soon, every person is standing yelling, I am Spartacus. I don't see anybody afraid to die, not for what they believe. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening in Jesus. I see him marching toward this bringing about of a transformation in the best way he possibly knew how. I see him moving forward unafraid. I do not see him asking God to take the cup away from him. And that cup is the job. Might be his body. Might be his body. After all, he's on the cross, and the thieves around him are invited into paradise with him. Where did he think he was going? Paradise, of course. Paradise. Palm Sunday. Wow. You know, you get deep into the story and you bring these magnificent traditions of other religions around the story into view, and you get to see it from a different perspective. There isn't a chance that Rumi believed, not a chance that Rumi believed that Jesus died for his sins. Not a chance. But I'll tell you what he did believe. He believed that Jesus died for the right to teach us how to transform, how to become that person that was not sinful. And when I say sinful, I mean believing that he or she is something other than they really are. Believing that they are not their authentic selves, which is truly love, the presence of love right here, right now. Through you is your authentic self. That's what's going on. Jesus brought that message. So, you know, I don't think that my change in perspective changes the outcome at all. I think it gives him a little more gravitas, though. And I want to do that. I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to look at it in a way that seems more powerful. Does that seem powerful to you? It seems powerful to me. So let me tell you what my goal is, my dream. My dream is that we spend this time together, and then you go in and you have a magnificent repast, and you talk about this stuff. You know, you talk about what's important. You talk about the nature of the season. You talk about why it is we're all here talking about Palm Sunday. You talk about the journey of Jesus. You talk about the motivations. You talk about life itself, because that's what the Bible's bringing us, a discussion around life itself. And so I'm going to say this, namaste, which is from a different religion. But what it means is the God in me recognizes the God in you, and it truly does. Namaste. All right, that was a Palm Sunday you might not have expected. Come on, Trish. You're so brave to carry that heavy basket. You know? It is. It's the big one. All right, so we're welcoming people who are on live stream. And Colleen, hey, I hope things are going beautifully in Illinois. Thank you for being a part of each and every one of our hearts and part of this congregation. Basha. Yay, Basha. We have Victor. Victor's on. Gosh, love to see Victor. We're going to see Victor on the 25th of April. Yeah? Yeah, he's going to sing for us, I think. Maybe, Victor. All right, Carol Wyke. Carol is not here. She normally would sit next to Mimi, and she's having a health challenge, and we hope to see her. Carol, I think you're probably watching with your son Michael, so yeah, here's Michael. Michael, too. Michael. We got Virginia. We got Reva. We got Charles DeTurk, who is in Michigan. Wave to Charles there, Steve. And we got Charlene, and she's in Tennessee. Hello, Charlene. Yeah, thank you for joining us. We absolutely love knowing that you're here. You bring a consciousness of love and caring, and we got to have it. We really do. There's something else we have to have. What we have to have is a community that supports one another, and we love this community. And we support this community. We support this community in consciousness, and we support this community materially. We bring to the table that which we wish to support. And so we have a community giving statement that I'd like you to join me in. God is the source of my overflowing supply, and I am grateful. Mitch, hit it.
Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. To see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of the glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. To see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of the glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Now the next part, I want everybody to sing along with me. And Michelle's going to help lead us. It goes something like this. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. Come on, stand up, Michelle. There you go. Holy, holy, holy. Everybody. Holy, holy, holy. That's it. Holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. There you go. Holy, holy, holy. I can hear you. Holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, 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 holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. Yes.
We are good. Mitch, you are awesome. You got us. Woo.
You guys are great.
All right, you guys, I'm going to pray over the tithes and treasures here, knowing that Unity of Pasadena is strong and beautiful and giving and caring. We promise to use these tithes and treasures with integrity. We promise to allow this consciousness not only to permeate the walls of this space, but to move out into the community and help and support those in need. We absolutely pledge our blessings to all people, to all faiths, to all human beings and animals alike. We do this with love in our hearts. Thank each and every one of you for your generosity, and so it is. Amen. Thank you. All right, you guys. So we have, oh, here she comes. You want the mic? There you go.
Okay. Well, as we've seen and we've heard, holiness and wholeness, oneness, this is what we're all working toward, using all of the grace given to us by our great master teacher, Jesus. And so with transformation as the concept of what we are about, let's affirm our vision, mission, and core values, starting with the vision, which is envisioning a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. And our mission is transforming lives by living and sharing our inner truth of divine wisdom, compassion, and love, using practical spiritual principles. And our core values are creating community, living love, teaching truth, and serving spirit. And our community has some birthdays this month. So, will any April birthdays here present today please admit? Okay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear. Happy birthday to you.
Okay. And we can have some cake afterwards, too. And this being the second Sunday of the month, our alphabetic team of people whose last names begin with the letter D through the letter J are hosting. And next week, which is the third Sunday, but it's also Easter Sunday, that team is a little short right now of people to begin with. And being as we I don't know all of your plans for Easter, but I've seen some Easters where, people are with their families in different locations. So if you're going to come here and you feel good about bringing something extra, kind of supports that team of L through R, I'm sure they would really appreciate it. Okay, we got a lot of things going on here during the month of April. And the first one is Michelle's class. Michelle, please stand for anybody who doesn't happen to know her. Might be a few people who don't know Michelle. Okay, and she just started last week doing this gentle chair exercise, breathe and relax class, and I'll let her say a few words about it. Go ahead.
It's really fun.
Okay, so everybody who came last week for the first one really seemed to enjoy it. So I know they're all coming back, but there's the hall's pretty big. There's room to hold many more. All right. Then also today I didn't put it on the slides, but our prayer chaplains, which Michelle is one, are having the second half of their annual training this afternoon after hospitality, and then in May we'll celebrate them again. Okay, then next Sunday, the third Sunday, is that week's meeting of the bereavement support group, and we've got our all-church benefit concert and silent auction, which is coming up on Friday, April the 25th. And you've got your flyers, and hopefully you're making your reservations. And Clifta is still here. Clifta, please. Yes. Okay. She's here to answer any questions and take information about anything you plan to bring for the silent auction portion of the event. So, the last thing is we have a new class coming up. One of our newer members, Kara Cornford, has a class which is going to be on Saturday, May the 3rd, and I'm going to let her tell you about it. Kara, would you come up?
So I'm really excited to have an opportunity to share this workshop with you. It's really based on that idea that there's only one thing, even though it might look like more than one thing. It's based on the knowledge that the divine energy that Charles Fillmore refers to as the I Am, the great I Am, is a unified expression of what we tend to perceive as masculine and feminine energy. And because we tend to see that divine energy in that dualistic way, it's possible that we've been influenced by a collective consciousness that causes us to limit the qualities of the divine energy that we are allowing to be expressed to us and through us and as us. So the first part of the workshop is about exploring how our thinking may have become limited in those ways, how and why. And the other part of the workshop is focused on being introduced to archetypes that can help us overcome that kind of limited thinking. Because archetypes are beings that are either mythical or real, that personify that divine energy, different qualities of that divine energy. And when we connect with those archetypes, we can be inspired to emulate those qualities that they personify. And so, in other words, if you want to embody more of any particular type of divine energy, a really powerful way to do that is by connecting with archetypes that personify that energy. I'm really excited to do this. I developed this workshop years ago, actually, out of my own desire to become a more balanced being. And I am confident, based on my own experience and people who have done this with me, that it really can be a transformative experience to support your own spiritual growth and to support our church, not only through your monetary contribution for the workshop, but by helping our community to develop more of a collective consciousness of that balanced being. So I encourage you to sign up and come have a good time growing together. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Kara, because there's no way I could have explained all of that. You may have to come up here each week until the class happens. And I want you to notice something. Did you notice that she walked over to the side here and held onto a banister? We've had a number of handyman activities going on in the last couple weeks. One of them happens to be this banister that has been put up. We've had the burnt-out ballasts in some of the fellowship hall lights changed and fixed, and now you can see in the men's room, not that I normally go in there, but I did to check the trash one day, and it was practically, I couldn't see where I was going. There was one little light flickering. So anyway, and the doors to our storage shed out in the parking lot, you really had to pull. They just dragged on the ground, so we got those fixed, and the doors to the electrical room outside the bottom was, falling apart, so we got that fixed as well. And I don't know if any of you who were up here today noticed that this does this doesn't move and slide around like it did. It's not permanently anchored, but we used the 2 holes that were already here from the long time ago wooden podium, and just had holes drilled in this acrylic and dropped the long pins that we had previously trying to stop it from going forward, but it'll still move. So anyway, we got a lot of projects done, and the biggest one, for me anyway, is the accordion door in the fellowship hall. It's back on track. It does work. If we need to split the fellowship hall in half, we can do that. I just ask, because it's getting older, just handle it gently though. But it's there for us to use in the future. Okay, and if you were planning to come and visit any time during the week, this week, I don't recommend Thursday, because we have an opportunity, we have a filming company who will be here. And even though it's Michael Urban who will be starring in the movie, they will be taking all of our parking spots, and except for the staff who are here. So that it happens to be a nice rental activity for us as well. Let's see. Oh, Jackie, do you have any further updates? Anything else you want to say on the May retreat that you and Greg are involved in?
It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be 3 full days of wonderful meditations and speakers and workshops. And come on out and join us. It's in Lucerne Valley. Information's on the board back here.
Okay, well then I'll just close with the fact that this Friday, after the movie is all done and everything, Friday is going to be a quiet day, and we'll have the sanctuary open for just silent meditation from noon to 3. So Friday, be a lot of parking in the parking lot. Feel free to, come by and spend a little time in silent meditation. And now I'll turn this back over to Greg to close.
Thank you, Barbara. All right, you guys, we're going to do the silent unity prayer for protection, and we're going to stand for that. And it's great because when we're through saying the silent unity prayer for protection, we're going to sing a song, and we do that on our feet too. Mitch, what are we singing today?
We're singing the peace song.
Oh, the peace song. That's a good song to sing. All right, you guys, so please join me in the silent unity prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever I am, God is. I am divine.